Okay. Okay, so welcome. Yeah, after listening to Dean Pugh's welcome speech, I miss going to NU. I actually was on the campus earlier this week because I had to sign some documents, and it had been the first time in a long time, and I do miss it. I do get to see my students in our Zoom calls, but it's not the same, right? Because part of the experience is, certainly your interactions with professors in, both undergrad and graduate school, but also a big part of what makes up your education is interactions with other students. So I hope that before too long, we'll be able to get back to normal and give students the full experience of what it means to be an Nazarbayev University student. Just to again follow on what Dean Pugh said, yeah, we're in a time of real uncertainty and dealing with questions that have no easy answers. And that, in fact, is what social scientists do. We deal in questions that have no easy answers. The idea of unknowns and uncertainties are actually some of the core issues that we deal with in social sciences. And in fact, when it comes to governments and government decision making and analyzing how governments make decisions, in fact, I think that humans can't be replaced. So being human is a really essential part of what it means to govern, or what government work is actually all about, because governing, or the work of governments, is actually done by humans, and that's what makes it full of uncertainty and very messy, but also means that the role of humans is really irreplaceable in the role of governments. So what I want to do today is talk to you a little bit about this kind of provocative question that I've posed, what do governments do anyways? And then tell you about what we do in the MAPSIR program, or the Masters of Arts in Political Science and International Relations. And we'll spend most of our time actually talking about what we do there and how the program is constructed, and then we'll leave certainly plenty of time for any of your questions. So what do governments do? Well, I mean, they address very messy problems of, how to get people to live together, right, in relative peace. And that's the topic of our study of politics, right? What governments do, how people react to those decisions that governments are making. One of the classic definitions of politics is by Harold Lasswell. It is who gets what, when, and how. And if you think about this definition of politics, you'll very quickly realize that politics is everywhere, right? Politics is in I mean, maybe it's not so relevant right at the moment, but politics is there in what types of drinks they stock in the vending machine. I mean, it seems like such a silly example, but what if they don't stock the type of drink that I want? And what if I want to get them to change that decision? Well, in some ways, that's about what I get and when I get it and how I get it, right? And in some ways, that's very political, right? If I use my power and my leverage to try to get the drinks that I want, and I'm not talking about anything crazy. I'm just talking about a Diet Coke, right? How do I get that in the vending machine on the university campus? I mean, this is political, right? I see politics everywhere. Politics is in how my kids negotiate or fight, really, over everything. It's about who gets what, when, and how. Politics is also about who decides who gets what, when, and how, right? And these decisions are extremely important. I would say that we're in a moment in history where we can see the importance of these decisions all that much more in the context of the coronavirus pandemic. So if we look at how governments are making decisions about how to control the spread of the virus, how to support their citizens in times where they, their jobs might be not as, maybe jobs are kind of shutting down because of remote work, or, all of these different factors that everybody is very well acquainted with on a personal level, many of us. Governments are making decisions about that, and governments are making decisions sometimes that people don't like. And how do governments deal not only with the realities of the virus, but also the discontent of the publics in their country? These things matter a lot, and these are the types of questions that we address in the study of political science and international relations. If we study these from a political science perspective, maybe like more of a domestic politics or comparative politics perspective, we might look at how societies respond to different types of coronavirus restrictions, right? If we look at it from a more international relations perspective, we might look at, for example, the diffusion of different policy strategies across the globe, right? So when and what types of policies do governments adopt? And are they just borrowing from their neighbors, or are they borrowing from kind of best practices, or are they borrowing from worst practices? Where are they getting their ideas from? This would be more of an ideas diffusion or a policy diffusion sort of perspective that we might study in an international relations sort of way. But politics is everywhere. And in fact, almost any topic can be studied from a political perspective. So there is just lots and lots of options for how and what to study in the master's program in political science and international relations. So I want to tell you a little bit more about our program. Our program is really well suited for students who want to pursue careers in research, in government, and international organizations, and for those students that want to go on to do a PhD either abroad or here in Kazakhstan. So we have a couple of students who have gone on to do PhD at Nazarbayev University. We have more students that have gone abroad. We have some students, former MAPSR students in the UK, I think the University of Sheffield, and at another student at UC San Diego in California in the US. So students go abroad and they stay if they want to go into academia. We also have students working, former students working in government, in international organizations, for research think tanks and research institutes. And so the training that we give our students is really ideal for kind of a number of different career paths. Our program, what makes our program unique, even among other programs at Nazarbayev University, is our research-oriented focus and our theory-oriented focus. So our program, if you've heard that our program is tough, that's true, it is. It's a tough program, and that's because we want you to learn the theories of political science. We want you to learn the methods of political science and social sciences, and we want you to be able to apply those in your own independent research programs. Which is usually culminates in a final master's thesis, which ideally you could go on then to revise and publish as in a peer-reviewed academic journal. We also certainly give you the opportunity to be involved in our research projects and professors' research projects. So right now, I think I have maybe 6 students that are master's level students working for me as research assistants, and other students are working for other professors. And this gives you a great opportunity to really understand from the inside what it's like to collect data, to analyze data, and what that looks like from kind of the ground up. So our graduates, like I said, have worked in a number of kind of government and non-government positions: Ministry of National Economy and Ministry of Education, Kazakhstan Institute for Strategic Studies. We have a student that's working as an instructor at Süleyman Demirel University down in Almaty, and a number of different career paths. Being located in the capital city of Nur Sultan also gives our students access to government agencies, international organizations, foreign diplomats. We just earlier this week or last week had a talk from oh goodness, what was he? I think he was a European ambassador was keen to make connections with students and professors, and he was giving a talk in one of our seminars. So this is because of Nazarbayev University's reputation and because of its kind of connections abroad. We often have really good connections with foreign diplomats, as well as international organizations, such as United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, UNDP, the United Nations Development Program, Soros Foundation, let's see what, the OSCE, and International Organization for Migration, and all of these other organizations that are located here in the city and really are really open to collaborating and working with NU students. We also do occasionally offer students the opportunity to study abroad, though honestly, I would say that we really like to keep you to ourselves. We have a short amount of time with our master's students, and we really like to keep them in our circles or under our care. So if you wanted to pursue an opportunity to study abroad, you could certainly do that in the summer between the 2 years of your master's program. We do definitely encourage students to travel though, and that could be travel abroad to either do field research or to present research, or to travel within Kazakhstan or in the region, again, to do either research or present the findings of your own projects. So here's just a couple of nice pictures of past and present MAPSIR cohorts. We really do, well, you know, one of the things that's really hard for us right now is that we don't get to see our students. We don't get to go out with them. We don't get to have fun with them. And that's really hard. Usually that's something that we really prioritize, and has been a bit of a downer during the pandemic time. And hopefully we will kind of find some ways to overcome that even in for the rest of the pandemic kind of online study. But when eventually we will be back in person studying together, and the social aspect of the program, I think, is something that we will appreciate all that much more for having had this kind of time off. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about the courses that you would take if you were to be admitted to the master's program. So it's in some ways a very structured, it's a very structured start at least, and kind of gives you more and more opportunity to take some electives as the program goes on. There are 5 core courses that you take in the first year of the program. And then in the second year, you're really more focused on your thesis work. So in the first semester, students all take the same 3 core seminars, and only those 3 core seminars. Students take the advanced research course, which is about kind of social scientific thinking, a little bit about methods that we use, the ways that we know that we kind of produce knowledge in the social sciences and political science. Students also take a core seminar in comparative politics, which is one of the major fields of political science. One of the other major fields of political science is international relations. And so those 2 core seminars are taken kind of in parallel. The third major subfield of political science that we teach at Nazarbayev University is political theory. And so in the spring semester, students take a core seminar in political theory. And then they also take another methods seminar. So the 5th core seminar is called Advanced Research 2, and it is quantitative methodologies. In the spring, students also take an elective, a political science elective. So anything that's being offered of their choice. And then they start thesis preparation. So they start by kind of exploring the topic, kind of writing an initial proposal, doing some kind of literature exploration, and working with their main thesis advisor already in the second semester. And then during the summer, students take another course called Thesis Research, where they will finalize their proposal, finalize their literature review, and present that at the end of the summer. Students don't have to be in residence in Astana at Nazarbayev University in order to do this summer course. Obviously, nobody's in residence right now, but even under normal conditions, we don't require that students have to be in Astana during the summer to complete this thesis research course, though they can be if they want to. If they want to stay and live in the dorms under normal circumstances, they can. In the second year, students are really focused on thesis writing. So in the fall semester, they take MA Thesis 1 plus 2 electives. And in the final semester or the spring semester, their second spring semester, they take Master's Thesis 2 and 1 elective. And that is that's the kind of the course progression that all students follow. Our thesis writing sequence happens over four terms, and it is encompassed by four separate courses. So in this first spring semester, in the first year of the master's program, students take a thesis preparation course, which is only 4 ECTS credits. But again, like I said, it's a kind of an exploration of the thesis topic, trying to find a good fit with a thesis advisor, because this is very important, making sure that you find not a professor that works well with you, that you work well with, that has the right expertise, etc. In the summer, like I said, you'll take a course, a 12 ECTS credit course called Research for Thesis, and then in the second year, you'll take the MA Thesis 1 and 2. So again, this is just a bit more information. I don't want to belabor this point too much, but again, the reason that you know, I want to give you enough detail about this thesis writing sequence is because it is the core of what we want you to do in the master's program. So certainly you take courses in the program, but what our goal is to get you to be research independent, to give you the tools and the training so that you can go out and collect your own data, that you can go out and read the literature relevant to that topic, and figure out where your topic kind of fits in the theories that are out there right now. So again, this is why we have a 4-semester sequence of thesis writing and thesis preparation. So you start finding your advisor even from the very beginning, right? So students, even in their first semester, should really start talking to professors, getting to know professors, understanding who is doing research on the topics that they're interested in, and how their potential research interests kind of fit with certain professors. So that said, this thesis sequence is quite flexible depending on the type of data that you will collect. So if you were doing, for example, a quantitative study with a pre-existing data set, you might not have to spend a lot of time on your data collection. So you can spend your first 2 semesters, the thesis preparation and the thesis research, on looking at, you know, really focusing on the literature review, on your hypotheses, developing really good hypotheses. If, on the other hand, you're looking to do a more kind of ethnographic type of study where you're going to be doing a lot of interviews or a lot of observations of people, you might need the summer to do some of that data collection. So you might kind of push up your thesis timeline so that you can spend some of your summer months collecting data in the field. And then again, the thesis 1 and 2 are flexible depending on you and your advisor, the specific type of project that you're working on, what sequence makes most sense in terms of how your data collection will unfold, which chapters make most sense to write first. Usually theses are about 5 or 6 chapters, about 20,000 words. But what sequence or kind of what order the people write those chapters in, it really depends. It depends on students, it depends on advisors, it depends on the needs of the project. So these are all quite flexible things. The things that aren't flexible are the quality, of course, and the deadlines in the spring semester. So we require that students have their first draft, their full and complete first draft by March of their final semester, and the final draft by April. And then that needs to be defended and submitted final perfect copy in May. And another thing that is, I think, important about the quality control of our theses is that we have not only 2 political science professors on each committee, but we also have political scientist from outside of Nazarbayev University on each thesis committee, and they read the proposal and they read the rough draft and they read the final draft. And if things aren't up to quality, then they'll let us know, and then those theses don't progress. And those theses may be delayed. They may not end up getting a master's degree. That happens if the quality of the thesis is not good enough. So our external thesis advisors come from all over, really. We've really expanded our reach of external thesis advisors. The most important thing is that they are good experts in the topic of the study of the thesis. We right now have the external thesis advisors from University of Birmingham, University of Washington in the United States, Pitzer College also in the United States. We have in previous years had external advisors from various universities in Hong Kong and Japan. And so we're kind of going in both directions in terms of pulling from our thesis advisors, but certainly we want them to be from recognized universities and good scholars in those fields. And I think that's something that's really important about our program. Okay, so I want to give you just a few tips from my side. I know Sam will talk a little bit more about your admissions related questions, but I want to give you a little bit of an idea of what the admissions committee, the political science professors, want to see in your admissions packet if you decide to apply to the political science program. The first thing is that we really want you to tell us why you want to apply to NU rather than somewhere else. So you really need to know what our department, how you might fit into our department, why our department, is a good fit for you. We do not want to hear that you want to come to NU because it's prestigious and it will help you in your future career. That's just really vague, and it doesn't really tell us much about why you actually care about what we as political science faculty members can give you, can help you to reach your future goals. So please get to know us, get to know our department, get to know the professors, get to know the courses, and integrate that knowledge into your statement of purpose. If your statement of purpose just says, well, I want to study political science because I want to know, I love politics and I want to be in diplomacy, and NU has a really good reputation and it's going to get me to our goals. Well, those types of statements of purpose kind of get, they get sidelined because that's really not very specific. It doesn't really tell us much about why you want to study at NU and what specifically we can do for you that other universities in Kazakhstan or even in the world can't do for you. Another way of getting to know the program is to talk to former students. they're probably your best insight into the program. They'll tell you all of the things that we won't tell you, that we don't, not that we don't want you to know. Of course, we want you to know everything, but they might tell you, you know, what the strengths and weaknesses of the program are in a way that the official information won't tell you. You can certainly also look at our former students' theses in the NU library repository. So all of these are available publicly. And that's a really good way of getting to know what type of work we are asking for in those final thesis projects. It's important to know that our application includes essay questions. These essay questions are checked for plagiarism, so please don't copy and paste your answers from the internet or any other sources, because we'll find out, and those applications also go immediately to the trash bin, and we don't consider them any further. But the application does include essay questions that are relevant to political science topics. So you'll get a choice of kind of a more IR or international relations oriented question, or a comparative politics question, or a political, actually, I don't think we have a political theory question this year. Those candidates that are shortlisted, whose applications we like, will be invited for an interview. In that interview, we will ask you which professors you want to work with. So if you don't know which professors you want to work with, if you don't have an idea of who the faculty members are in the political science department, then that won't make for a very strong interview. We will also ask you what type of project you want to write for your thesis, what types of topics you're interested in. We will also ask you a math question. It shouldn't be too hard. Don't get freaked out. Just kind of be mentally prepared for the fact that we will ask you a math question. Political science is a fairly mathematically intensive subject. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be mathematically or statistically oriented in order to be a political scientist. I am not. I'm a qualitative political scientist, and it is fine and acceptable to choose to do a qualitatively oriented thesis project in our master's program. Nevertheless, all political scientists must be kind of quantitatively literate, meaning that they have to have a basic level of mathematical and statistical knowledge in order to be professionally competent. And so we do train our students to have that basic level of competency, even if they don't use those tools in their own research. So that is a really important part of our program as well. Okay, I think that is the end. Oh no, 27 minutes. That's good. That's good. I was supposed to keep to 30 minutes, and I did. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm going to turn it back over to the moderators to kind of lead us into the second section of our time here together.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for your interesting and useful presentation. So now, dear guests, please ask your questions. You can write in the chat box or ask your questions through a microphone. So we have one question, Professor. Do you see?
Okay, so is it necessary to have a degree in political science to apply for the MA? No, not at all. So we have students that have come to our program with backgrounds in journalism, with backgrounds in kind of linguistics, and all of that is okay, as long as you tell us, again, why you are interested in political science and you're ready to kind of make the switch, right? To kind of understand that you might have a little bit of a steep learning curve, but I didn't have a political science undergraduate degree, and I went on and did my master's in political science and kind of made the switch. Students are from linguistics, journalism, other backgrounds can be very successful. It all depends on how hard they work, really, honestly. So students, yeah, in fact, we've had students that have come from a variety of different backgrounds that have surpassed students that have had political science undergraduate degrees. So I wouldn't say that that is a marker of success or that you're at a disadvantage. It really all comes down to how hard students are willing to work.
Okay, we have one more question from Maksat. Are there any academic requirements for MA admission?
Yes,
I'm going to turn this question over to Asim.
Yes, thank you, Professor Caress Schenk. Yes, your presentation was very useful and helpful. It just covered all the interested questions that might raised by our participants. And thank you, Maksat, for your question. Yes, there are some requirements, entry requirements. First of all, it's of course a bachelor's degree diploma with transcript and a minimum CGPA of 2.75 out of 4.0. Also, you should have an IELTS test score of 7.0 with sub-score requirements no less than 6.0 or higher. So as Professor Caress Schenk also mentioned, there are also requirements as SR, personal SR, when you demonstrate a high level of motivation and strong interest. The SR should consist of like approximately 500 words. And also there is also another assignment like there are essay questions when you can also express your strong writing skills. Also 3 confidential letters of recommendations. They should be written within the last 12 months. They can be provided by the professors you worked with before, like in your past academic degrees. And they can also be provided from working experience that can be related to the program that you're applying to. And also CV. Yes, there are like application package. So bachelor's degree diploma, GPA, personal essay, the response to the essay questions, 3 confidential letters, CV, IELTS test score. But there are also options in providing a document on language proficiency knowledge, because there are 3 cases when you can skip the IELTS test score, submitting of IELTS or TOEFL certificate. So there are first, when you, if one of your early academic degrees was earned in a country with English as the language of official communication. The second one, if your degree was earned in a program which was officially taught in English, in that case, you should provide an official document confirming English as the language of instruction. And the third one is if you're a new graduate. So these 3 cases, they can provide you with a waiver of IELTS or TOEFL certificate. So yes.
Okay, thank you, Asim. So we have one question from Malika. Will there be a specific course or webinar on how to write an essay and motivation letter? So actually, Malika, we have a Writing Center program, which offers individual consultations to assist students their writing. So if you go to our SSH YouTube channel, so let me share with my screen. So here's our YouTube channel, SSH. And if you go to this website, you can see that there are lots of webinars, free webinars of Writing Center program. For example, on the different topics like literature review, motivational letters. We had 2 webinars in September, if I'm not mistaken. So you can go to our YouTube channel and watch them. They are free, and I think they will be helpful for you. Yes. So Professor, do you have anything to add?
No, that's great. I'm glad that you were able to point them to those, because I had a vague memory that we had some videos of those, but I didn't know for sure. Okay, so there are a couple of questions about the ALEX and the GRE. I'm going to turn those back over to Asyam.
Thank you.
I'm happy to help, though.
I do not know what to say about Alex, because as far as I know, it's like it's a web platform that provides courses in mathematics and statistics, right?
Yeah, I think, I think that we used a kind of an ALEX exam of some sort as an assessment for students one time before they came to our program, and use that as a way kind of assessing their initial level of, kind of mathematics knowledge. But that's not been a standard practice. I think we only did that one time. So we don't typically use ALEX. It's not really a part of what we do in our program.
Professor, it's actually, yes. The ALEX test is required for GSB, for graduate school business. But yeah, by our school, it's not required. Yeah,
okay, so that's helpful. So we have used it in the past, but we don't use it regularly now. Yeah, thank you, very good.
And as for Maksat's question, are GRE and GMAT and bachelor's degree capstone research required for admission? No, there is no requirement to pass GRE or GMAT, but I think it will be optional. If you would like, you can send your certificates, additional documents that might help you, and admissions committee, they will review all the documents. So I think it will be good. But it's
yes, I agree. Yeah, if you talk about your bachelor's capstone research in your statement of purpose, then you can tell us as a way of telling us how you've prepared yourself to take advantage of make the most of our program. Then that would be a great way to kind of put that information into your application packet.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So, dear participants, please ask your questions. Don't be shy. It's a great opportunity to ask your questions from the professor, director of the program. So, Professor, can you please tell briefly about the Department of Political Science, International Relations, about our professors? Yes.
Sure. Yes, we have great professors. We're really lucky that we have a lot of, our department is pretty, it's kind of young and vibrant. So most of our professors are assistant professors, which are kind of the entry level professor, which means that they have a lot of energy and a lot of great ideas. And so we have, I think, about 14 professors in political science and international relations, and their expertise really ranges across all of the subdisciplines of political science. So we have a number of professors in comparative politics that look at not only kind of big comparative questions such as electoral policies or voting behavior across many different types of countries. We also have the types of comparative political scientists that look more at kind of different specific regions and look at more kind of in-depth studies based on kind of ethnographic types of approaches. So we have certainly a number of professors that are experts on the region of Eurasia, but we also have experts on East Asia and Europe and Africa and China. And so we really have quite diverse interests. We also have professors that are in the IR subfield. So think people looking at diplomacy and security and also a number of professors that are specifically focused on methodologies, or really kind of interested in developing the types of methodologies that political scientists use in their research. We also have legal experts and also political theorists, so that are looking at the subfield of political theory. And that is also, again, we have a really wide and diverse set of political scientists, which is really vibrant, and it gives students a lot of choices in terms of what types of thesis topics they want to choose.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for your answer. We have a question from Malika. Will within the MA in PSIR program be the internship, and where and how long, if yes?
So we don't really have, and no, we don't do internships in our program. That doesn't necessarily mean that students can't do internships, but it's not a part of our curriculum. It maybe could be something that students might do in the summer, but there's no mechanism for getting course credit through internships. There's also the idea that when you come to do a master's program, we want you to be a full-time student. We don't really want you to be dividing your attentions with work or internships or things outside of what we're asking you to do in our curriculum. So internships are really not a part of what we want students to do in our program.
Okay, thank you, Professor. Asiem, do you have something to add?
Well, yes, I can add information that might be interested also for our participants. If you are selected for admission to this program, you will be granted with a scholarship, and for master's programs, it's 125,000 tenge per month. And also, if you are an international student, and you offers a BIAC non-BIAC scholarship. So if you successfully go through the selection process and is recommended for admission, this scholarship covers the monthly stipend, basic medical insurance, tuition fee. Also, we have an opportunity to accommodate our students in our dormitory, but right now, of course, it's only a limited number of students under special circumstances can be accommodated in dormitory, but hopefully next year everything will be the same. And so you will be able to see our campus and to see our faculty members, professors. Mm-hmm. So yes, hopefully everything will be the same. And also, I think what could be also interesting.
Online application has already started, yes?
Yes, yes, you're right. The online application is already open, and it will be last till April 20. So feel free to send your applications. 30. April 30.
Mm-hmm, right? Yes.
Yes, please feel free to send your applications, to send your questions. Is there a limit on how many students are admitted, or it's solely based on the students' achievements and answers to the questions? Well,
I can take this one if you want.
Yes.
Okay. So we have about, we usually have about 13 to 15 spots. And if we have qualified applicants, we will fill those spots. If we don't have qualified applicants, we won't fill those spots. So if we have, usually we get around 40, 60 applications. And this year we admitted, I can't remember actually how many we admitted, maybe 10,
10.
but our
yes.
10, okay.
Yes, 10.
Though right now we only have 7 that are actually studying. So we don't necessarily offer spots just because they're available. So in fact, we have kind of our standards, and if the applicants don't meet those standards, then we don't accept them, even if there's empty spots for them.
Yes, but we also have like a wait list for the applicants who are also quite good, but like be considered as an option.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I mean, I think that if you're a good candidate, then there's options for you to be admitted, and again, yeah, like wait lists and things like that. So.
Okay, thank you, Professor, for your answer. We have a question from Malika. She's asking, will summer course be based in Nur-Sultan, or should students go necessarily abroad?
Okay, so during the summer course, students can do that work from anywhere they want. So if they want to be in Astana or Nur-Sultan, they can. If they want to be at home with their families, they can. If they want to go abroad, they can. There's no specific requirement that the summer work has to be in Nur-Sultan or any other specific place.
Okay, thank you. Professor, I have one question. Do you advise for the student who recently graduated bachelor's degree, like to immediately apply for a master's program, or you advise to like first work to see yes, and then only go apply for the master's degree?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. Yeah, I think different students are different, right? And I mean, I did not go immediately from a bachelor's degree to a master's degree. I worked and I learned, I learned outside of the classroom. And then for me, I was more prepared to go back to do graduate school because I had taken some time off and because I knew that I really wanted to, what I wanted to do. But that's not necessarily true for all students. So some students know what they want to do. They're really ambitious. They're, full steam ahead. But I think if you feel like you want to take a break between bachelor's and master's, then you should do it. If you feel like it's going to be too much, it's going to be too hard, you need some time off, then please do that. You're going to be better off if you know what you're capable of usually more than anybody else does. So kind of follow your intuitions on that. But from our perspective, it's not necessarily an advantage or a disadvantage for students to be coming directly out of bachelor's or to have some time off. Okay, so we have a question from Adiel. So do we need to mention which professors we want to work with in our personal statements? It is a good idea. We are impressed when you have taken the time to know which professors you want to work with and why you want to work with them. That shows something good. We like those applications.
So we have one more question from Adel. He's asking, do residents of Nur-Sultan get a dorm?
Oh, okay.
So I think it's for SM. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Adele. Well, the accommodation in a new dormitory is provided for the students from outside Nur-Sultan, but your application can be considered if you specify like the reasons why you would like to why would you like to be accommodated into dormitory? Because like it's a like limited number of rooms available, but you can try. Your request will be considered.
Okay, thank you, Asiem. So, dear students, if you have questions regarding the program, admissions, please don't hesitate to contact us. I will write down our email address. Also, you can contact Professor Caress Schenk. So we will try to help you and answer all your questions. So 2 minutes left. Professor Caress Schenk, do you have something to add? If no?
Well, if participants have any questions, they can always contact us. So for now, I think I'm okay. So not all the students can go to Singapore or Berlin during summer. Malika is asking.
Okay, so the yeah, so really we don't provide any support for helping students find summer programs or anything. If students want to study abroad during the summer, they can, but it's not a specific part of our program. We really don't. We want students to come to us because we want them to come to Nazarbayev University, not because we want them to use us as a way to get abroad, honestly speaking. So please, if you want to apply to NU, please apply to NU. And there are top-notch professors. There's better professors at NU, and you'll find in a lot of Western universities. So if you want to come to us, come to us. But please don't come to us just as a way of, trying to get somewhere else. I will say, however, there's one caveat to that. Using a master's degree as a stepping stone to going to do a PhD abroad is a great option. But however, if students come to us and spend all of their time in the program thinking about how they can get abroad and don't actually do a good job in our program, they actually are not meeting that goal. So again, come to us because you want to come to us, and we will give you more than you expected, and we will give you more advantages than you ever thought that you could, that you would have received if you come to us and you're willing to work hard and do a good job. So Adele also asks, are we required to take courses in Cossack language? No, we don't require that of graduate students.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So dear guests, dear participants, thank you for joining our webinar. Recording of this webinar will be sent to your email, so please keep tracking your emails. Also, let me remind you that tomorrow will be held a webinar on MA in Eurasian Studies with Associate Professor Nikolai Tsarampilov. So if you're interested in getting detailed information about this program, please join us tomorrow. We will be happy to see you. Also, all our past webinars are uploaded to our SSH YouTube channel, so you're welcome to watch them. If there are no questions, so I think now we can end our session. So Professor, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you, Asiem, for your help for answering the questions. So thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.